everybody, I'm Sean too,
Hi,
and we are the coordinators here at FSU Outdoor Recreation. And we're really pumped this week because one of our favorite topics to talk about, especially when we're on these trips, is food in the backcountry. Is not only it is the best food you've ever eaten because you're just starving and it's delicious and it tastes that much better. So we're pumped to talk about everything food related today.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Well, Sean, speaking of food, I know I saw you blueberry picking. What else did you do this weekend?
Yeah, saw you blueberry picking as well. No, totally unplanned, but I guess the word is out here in Tallahassee that the cool social distance thing to do is go blueberry picking. So now everyone has gone blueberry picking. So yeah, saw Sean. I made a cool sauce out of it actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a blueberry mango sauce that I'm making. I'm gonna grill some chicken with it. I will say I accidentally mixed it up with my iced coffee in the fridge on Monday. And so for about an hour, my chicken was marinating in iced coffee. And I was like, why does this look so different than I expected? And then realized, so swapped it out. And so, yeah, now it's marinating in a blueberry sauce. I didn't think about it, though. It's turning like a purpley blue color, though. I'm sure it's going to taste great, but I think you remember when they made like the purple ketchup and it was just a weird vibe? I think that's what my chicken is going to be like, and I'm a little afraid.
It's like green eggs and ham, except purple chicken and
Exactly. So we'll see.
Awesome.
But what about you? What did you end up doing?
Saw you blueberry picking. Also we picked a pound of blueberries, which seemed a lot less once we poured it all out, but we still have a ton left. We're still trying to figure out what to do with them. We made blueberry pancakes last weekend. Had like our own little stay-at-home brunch, which is nice. And then I'm thinking, with all this challenge that we're doing, I might dehydrate some and put some in my own version of gorp. Call it goop. Good old blueberries and peanuts. For anyone who doesn't know what GORP is, GORP stands for Good Old Raisins and Peanuts. So,
I know, yeah. I didn't realize it was an acronym until probably like 2 years ago, and I thought that was like a brand name or something, and I'm like, who makes GORP? And everyone does, I guess. So.
Yeah. Cool. Sweet.
But heck yeah, man. So last week's winner and challenge was our camping hack challenge. And there were some fun submissions in there. And Jason's going to go ahead and pull it up for us. Our winner this week is this spectacular walking sleeping bag. So you've got your armholes, zips up, the hoodie, whole shebang. That's just an absolutely phenomenal picture. So I have to give mad props to Hawk. He submitted it this week and has been voted as the winner of the camp hack. And
hey,
I'm not gonna lie. Actually, Hawk's here. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your mobile sleeping bag?
Yeah, sure. So this is actually Rachel's sleeping bag, and she got it as a present for graduating undergrad. And I think you gave a great description. Yeah. So it's got armholes. It's got a hood on it, which is a lot of fun. She actually wears it around the campfire, which is great. I mean, it is probably a little flammable. It is a nylon sleeping bag, so don't get too close, obviously. But yeah, it's great. So at the bottom, it's kind of just like a hole with a drawstring on it that feels pretty tight and nicely warm. And I think it only goes to about, maybe it's rated at 30 degrees, so it is kind of this model is more for warmer conditions, but overall it's still pretty great.
That is awesome. I'm just picturing like waking up in the morning and you're still pretty dang freezing, and being able to wear that to walk out would be spectacular.
Yeah, it's so nice. Like, get your coffee ready, while you're still warm, enjoying the day. So,
well, mad props, and yeah, Hawk, we're gonna by being voted as the winner, we're gonna get your Campus Rec pint glass and buff all ready to rock and roll for you to pick up once we're allowed to actually see people again. So we're very excited about that. And speaking of Campus Rec pint glass for seltzer water purposes, of course, Sean, what are we drinking this week?
Yeah, so as you guys know, last week was our AHA water that was our least favorite. So Sean, this week, show off what flavor we've got right now.
It
This
looks
week we're
like
doing a
delicious.
lime and watermelon flavor. Trying to make an aha little redemption. Last week we did the black cherry coffee flavor, and it was not our favorite. It does provide caffeine, but can't say it's the best in the Sean and Sean book. I see Kate Blosser here looks devastated.
That is like my A1 number favorite right now. I can't get enough of black cherry coffee.
What?
They'll have no taste.
Well, with our great taste, I will say this one's pretty dang good, Sean.
I like this one. I like this one a lot, actually. This one might be my favorite of the ahas that I've had so far.
It definitely tastes a lot more watermelony than lime.
Mm-hmm. I'll say too,
They
like
have strange pairings.
they do have strange pairings, but it's got a lot of flavor to it.
That's literally like the two of you.
Heyo.
But yeah, I like this one. I gotta say, it definitely like redeems the AHA brand to me a little bit. So
I would 100% agree. I'm down to try some of the other ones of theirs as well. I would say out of I'd give this one a solid like 3.5 out of 5.
yeah, I would give it like 3.7 maybe.
Yeah.
Put it a little bit further up there. I will say I have had the flavor that I do not like at all, which I don't even think is worth putting on this show of AHA. There's an apple ginger flavor, and man, it is not good.
Really?
Yeah. I'll have to
Wait
give
a
you
minute.
some time.
I want to say this comes right up the road. It looks like it's made in Atlanta, or at least canned in Atlanta.
Canned,
so
yeah.
it's our local seltzer.
Our local seltzer water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Drink local, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
So, awesome seltzer water. Good redemption. Appreciate that new AHA. And
Yeah.
what's
let's
this
new
week's
topic?
challenge, Sean? What are we doing?
So this week we're talking a little bit about nutrition in the backcountry and hiking, front country even. Just how to fuel your body and fill your body while hiking, backpacking, camping. There's a variety of different ways to eat correctly while you're out in the backcountry. One thing that I think I used to run into all the time was I would either pack too much or too little food. And so there's definitely a fine line in your packing. And we can go into the weeds, but I'm going to make it brief essentially here, just talking a little bit about packing too much versus too little. It all depends on kind of like bulk as well. Something that I've discovered, and again, this might be jumping back towards our hacks, but packing bagels and packing loaves of bread can be tough. Granted, I have definitely packed bagels for breakfast in the morning because I love a breakfast bagel. And also something that is bulky, but I can't go without that I've discovered is peanut butter. I love peanut butter, and it like runs through my veins, I'm pretty sure. But it's something that is pretty bulky, and carrying something like peanut butter in the backcountry can definitely like take up a lot of space. But it's something that I do bring. And something I will say too, though, about packing too little is you don't want to pack too little food, even on hikes. Planning ahead is super important, especially if you're doing like a day hike, to be sure that you're packing food and making sure that you're packing snacks. Because it's things being on a hike and ending up going like a 4-hour hike and not having any peanuts or any sort of like savory or sweet snack. Which also brings me to my next topic of variety. And something that I have definitely like had trouble with in the past is I'll pack a lot of cereal bars, protein bars, peanut. Hey! So this is completely off topic, but earlier in the day, Kate Blosser mistake my birthday, which is great. It's Cinco de Mayo, not my birthday, but she made a nice little graphic of me viewing peanut butter. And really like that rings very true to me today. Like I love peanut butter. So again,
Do we have that picture anywhere? Could we share it up here, Sean?
I know Chris Morris just held it up on his iPad. There it is.
Awesome.
Jif is my brand too. I stand by Jif. That's a good peanut butter brand.
I will say Sean has peanut butter on his desk like literally every day, just with the spoon chilling by it, and you do eat a lot of peanut butter.
It's a fantastic source of protein.
Exactly.
Great source of protein. Speaking of peanut butter, and we're talking about bread, we're talking about bulk. So my favorite thing, I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But if you want to find a non-bulky item to bring to the backcountry that also serves as your carbs, tortillas are great. You can find like 150 calories for a tortilla, which is like great for your carbohydrates. You slap some peanut butter on that bad boy, put some jelly on there if you want it. It's a great way to get a good source of protein and carbs. It's quick, it's easy, and it doesn't take up that much space. So I will say tortillas are great to bring.
I would agree with tortillas, Sean, and like you said with bagels earlier too. I've noticed that if you're taking bread of certain kinds, sandwich bread is probably the worst thing you can bring, because that's gonna just fall to the bottom of your backpack. It's gonna get crushed. It's gonna be disgusting. But the tortillas and the bagels just seem to be a lot more hearty and don't get destroyed as easy. So those are my two go-to bread options as well.
Exactly. Yep. And I'll say too, and again, this is kind of jumping over to a different topic that I wanted to talk about briefly. Tortillas are great. Also thinking about what kind of sugars you're eating in the backcountry. A lot of times we eat gorp and have peanuts inside of our trail mix and stuff like that.
Snicker bars.
Yeah, I think there's two different sides to this. When I was a ski instructor, I would bring Jolly Ranchers with me on my long days of like teaching. One, because like kids love Jolly Ranchers, they love having candy to like incentivize their like doing something, like completing a skill. But I think sugar can also be a great resource if you know you're running out of energy. For instance, like say it's 2 o'clock in the day, the ski lifts close at 4. You're running out of energy. You just need something quick. A piece of candy can be a great way to get that extra boost, especially as you're trying to complete the day. However, I will warn you, and I've done this once before, if you're going backpacking and have several days ahead of you, be careful of sugar. I have definitely eaten all of the M&Ms out of my raisin good old gorp on day one, and come like 4 or 5 o'clock, like right before dinner, man, I was gassed. Like I was done for the day. So there's definitely, sugar has a place in the backcountry, or in the front country even, but definitely like plan it out, and be careful of your sugar consumption. If you know that you're going to be off the slopes and going home at 4 o'clock, then eat a Jolly Rancher, eat some M&Ms, eat some Skittles, eat whatever your favorite sugar is, because that'll give you that quick boost that you need. But definitely be careful if you know you've got 2 more days of backpacking ahead of you. So that's my 2 cents. Sean, you want to talk a little bit about what your ideas are?
Yeah. So sugar crashes are so real, and I'm sure a lot of us have done that even with just our normal life, not while camping. Actually, so my big thing that I wanted to talk about was kind of the importance of nutrition and not just eating, say, like junk while you're out there. The importance of eating good, hearty things. I did see that we've been getting some stuff coming in the chat. Jason, do you want to maybe let us know some of the things people are asking, or any questions?
I have matzos from Hawk, which I guess he's referring to the type of Jewish flatbread.
Oh, that would be good. And those are kind of hard, right? They won't like break apart as much.
It's unleavened bread, and it comes in a nice box. You can like they come in big squares, but you can break them up into rectangles into smaller squares, and they are pretty hearty. They're kind of like a cracker, but they're a little bit harder, and they're great for peanut butter. peanut butter and jellies. I love them. You can put anything really on, put cheese on and make like a small pita. Yeah. I like goat cheese and jam. That's not really backcountry, but that's like just what I usually eat them with. But yeah.
Good to know. I'll have to throw those in and switch them out a little bit.
Yeah, man, they're good.
Nice.
So we had some back and forth with Christopher and Jordan Merrick there. Chris started off by saying that he was drinking half Pellegrino, half Trader Joe's watermelon cooler. It's an interesting combo.
Pinky out. Well, good. I'm glad we have some other watermelon fans in the group.
Me too.
Says it also tastes great if you add rum.
True. I mean, hey, it is Cinco de Mayo, and that's good enough for government work. Rum, tequila, whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Be safe, everybody. Definitely make sure you're of age if you partake in that. But it's a holiday, so we got to enjoy a little bit. But speaking of enjoying, back to our backcountry cooking options. We've been talking about the difference with all the food and whatnot. Our challenge to you actually this week is to show us your best backcountry recipe. We want to see y'all actually making this stuff and see pictures of the finished product, see videos of you making them. I have to give a shout out to Kelly Gerbers, who she is actually currently an assistant professor of outdoor education and leadership at Westminster College in Utah. She is an FSU alum and actually worked here for a long time. She's one of the presidents of AOR, our national governing board. She's kind of an outdoor recreation rock star and got so excited to hear about the challenge. She sent in her video to us last night where she makes a phenomenal backcountry poutine. And yeah, we'll definitely be posting that soon for y'all to see, but we want to see what you guys have to offer as well. I'm pretty pumped for it. Sean, do you know what meal you're planning yet?
Yeah, so I'm thinking about doing a trail meal, like trail mix sort of thing that's vegetarian. I want to do chickpeas, and I'll show you like some a way to. It's basically like my vegetarian beef jerky, where it still provides a good amount of protein. And I also season it with like sriracha. So
nice.
Yeah.
Dude, that sounds awesome. I think I might go more of a dinner route. I think I'm gonna do maybe like a potato-based one, like some mashed potatoes with some sauteed chicken and like some broccoli corn combo, something along that line. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for it, and that's the big thing when you're making these backcountry meals, you can make good stuff. I think one of the biggest gut checks and thing that upsets me when I hear about friends going backpacking is them talking about what kind of food they're bringing, and it just sounds awful, to be honest. Like, you can only eat Pop-Tarts for so long, and then all of a sudden you're really not getting the type of nutrition that you need to be out there, because you're burning a ton of calories when you're doing these outdoor activities, no matter what it is, whether it's paddling, hiking, backpacking especially. You don't even realize how many calories that you're burning a day. So if you're trying to like go on a diet while doing these, it's not going to end well. And if you're not eating appropriately, same thing. Similar to the sugar rush you were talking about, you will hit hard. So a lot of times people will get kind of these almost one pot meal recipes. Like I know, and some of them are great, like Mountain House meals, a lot of people know about, and they make some good stuff. I've seen people like bring MREs and stuff out there because they're trying to combat that, making sure they get enough calories. But a lot of times those don't taste very good. They're pretty expensive in my opinion, and you can do it so much easier. So some of the things that I brought with me today is there's a company, Lipton, I know used to make it. Now I believe it's this NAR group. I see Ryan, our hiker bud, giving us a thumbs up. This is the best like little base to start a meal. This one in particular is a quinoa one, but they have rice, they have a pasta based one. They have all the spices already in them. The packaging weighs next to nothing. So you just get there, you get your boiling water, you rip it open and dump it in, and then there's your starter already. With a lot of them, it's mainly the carb. You've got the quinoa or the rice or the pasta. And so to make like a full meal, you may want to combine some stuff with it. So this will usually be my starter pack. And I actually have a dehydrator. I love my dehydrator so much. I'm going to show you a quick picture of what mine looks like. So this is just an example of what my dehydrator is. It's a very basic one. You can get some fancy ones that cost a good bit of money. This one I want to say is like 35, maybe $40, just your good old basic one. And what you do is I used to like cut up a bunch of vegetables and put stuff on them. But what I've realized is the frozen vegetables are your best friend because they are already cut up into a good size. They're portioned out, and then you can get different varieties and kind of put them on each different tray. And you end up getting these kind of dehydrated, this is some corn and some broccoli. Not the easiest to see, but basically what you'll do is they get really teeny tiny and crunchy. And a good way to rehydrate them is you just put them in an Nalgene bottle. You can put it in there about an hour before you're planning on eating, or put it in a water bottle, and then they start to soak in all that water and expand. So by the time you're ready to cook, your vegetables are rehydrated. And I'm sure a lot of people are like, why would you go through all that work for vegetables? Well, you don't have refrigeration out there. So if you bring vegetables, especially if it's quite a few days, they're going to start to go bad and you're not going to be able to utilize them. So
And
dehydrating is awesome.
It makes them smaller and more durable from a packing standpoint as well.
And way lighter too, definitely, Jordan. Because yeah, we were talking about the bread. If it's not durable, it's going to get crushed. And if you think about a lot of vegetables that are water heavy, if you get all the water out of it, that's less weight you're having to carry with you. So that's super cool. So yeah, like I said, I will start off with my carb, whether that be like a quinoa or a mashed potato. You just add water to it. You throw in your dehydrated vegetables and then your protein. A lot of these recipes you can just eat vegetarian style. You can utilize beans. Beans you can dehydrate and rehydrate. You can use different meats that you don't have to keep cold, like summer sausage, tuna fish, canned chicken, lots of options. Me personally, I don't eat red meat, and unfortunately, I hate tuna fish. I have tried my hardest to enjoy tuna fish. Jason, do we actually have a poll made with tuna fish, yay or nay?
Yes, we do. And while I'm pulling that up in the chat, we got, have you ever dehydrated a watermelon with Hawk?
I have not dehydrated a watermelon. I would be intrigued to see what's left of it if you were to dehydrate it. I would almost imagine not a lot.
It has to be like nothing because it's 96% water, right? Like it has to be like just pulp at that point.
That's what I would guess, like almost just like a really thin paper sheet of this like leftover watermelon.
Oh, we got to try it.
I wonder how long
might
it would
have to.
take.
That'd be a good like sugar hit.
Oh yeah, like a concentrated candy.
Yeah.
It could either be really good or just completely fall apart. I think those are the only two possible scenarios.
There's no in between.
Yes, there's probably not a lot of middle ground on that. I would have to agree 100%.
That's a good idea for a middle school science experiment.
Ooh.
You know?
Just dehydrate a bunch of different vegetables to see like what their water content is.
I
Yeah.
wonder how long it would take to dehydrate though. You know, like that could be days.
It could be a long time. And
How long does it normally take?
I'm glad you actually asked that. So yeah, if you're planning on doing a lot of meals with your dehydrator, depending on what you're doing, it could take a solid like 6 to 8 hours. So a lot of times I'll set mine up and I'll do it just a few days in a row. So I'll get my first batch and get it all dehydrated, put all of those into baggies that are separated. And the baggies are cool too because you can put your seasonings in there. So you can kind of have them already mixed up. So you just have to dump the whole thing in the water. But yeah, so I would say for corn and the broccoli, that took about maybe 6 hours. A watermelon could take a while, to be honest. I have no idea.
So for our polling regarding tuna, we have 100% saying heck yes. They're on Team
Really?
Canned Tuna Fish.
Oh my
What?
gosh, freaking Team Tuna on here.
Wow.
I'm,
Dude, I'm
okay.
not a tuna guy either, man. I'm right there with you, Sean.
Yeah, personally, I'm not a tuna guy.
I'll jump in. I will say that the Star Kiss packets have come a long way in tuna technology. They have like 500 flavors, it seems, and they have some that have rice and beans already in it.
Really?
Yeah, and they're like $1. Like, and they have some sriracha flavored ones. They have like literally any flavor, and it's like once that flavor's in there, you don't even taste the tuna. So, yeah, tuna technology. It's a big deal now. Check it out.
I do like the tuna technology.
I think it is worlds different from the old pop a top can drain. Use the can lid to strain the liquid out. I think it's light years beyond that at that point.
You guys may have convinced me to give it another try. I will say, and Ryan mentioned the fact that they come in pouches. That's the other neat thing about both the tuna and my personal favorite, canned chicken. So I mainly, honestly, will eat either vegetarian or chicken normally. So what you can do is you can get yourself some canned or bagged chicken or tuna. So then you don't have to worry about bringing the weight of the can and hiking it out. And so the canned chicken, this is just what they look like. It looks like a tuna can or your bag, like I said. And now when you eat them, the texture, there's Ryan's got some of the tuna there. What is that, salmon, Ryan, that you just showed us?
Yeah, tuna technology. Look, you can get salmon with olive oil in it, which is awesome, and it weighs like nothing. This is like $2.
Huh.
And then they make them with the rice and beans and everything already in it, and it like weighs nothing. It has a ton of good like calories and like slow burn fat and everything. So give it another try. Give it another try.
I might have to. I think you've convinced me. I think you may be part of the lobbying arm of the tuna industry right now. I was wondering what you've done since graduating, but
we call it big tuna.
Big definitely big tuna. Pretty good A. Well, okay, so back to the chicken though, and actually probably the same with the tuna. When they're in the bags or the cans, the texture is a little strange. So what I always do when I bust that stuff out is you just take your pan or whatever you have as your camping kit. I have a GSI Bugaboo kit that I bring, and it's got some different pieces. This is a little frying pan guy that comes with it. Handle connects, and saute the chicken or the tuna first, because it'll give it that crunch that you think about, and it just tastes like you have the texture of the shredded chicken, and it just goes from being like kind of weird to you have no idea that it came out of a can. It's super, super good. And yeah, you throw all that together, you can throw it in your burrito shell or just in your bowl, and you're good to rock and roll.
Dehydrators are great. I will say, like, I didn't actually have one for a while. So I will say too, you can use your oven as well to kind of dehydrate a lot of your stuff. If you have an oven and you don't have a dehydrator, I used to do that with my beans. I would take them out of the can, rinse them off, and put spices on them. I love sriracha, so that's what I would do. So I put sriracha on them, and then I would put them in the oven for at 400 degrees for 30 minutes or something like that. And they would dry out a lot, but would still be pretty dang good. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of alternative to dehydrators. I certainly have similar to what Sean showed us. Also, your grill or smoker, if you have that, or your oven or things like that. One of the coolest components of dehydrating is that the goal is to remove the water and the water weight, not necessarily cook it. So I've actually seen Alton Brown on the Food Network. If anybody's got into his scientific-y stuff, he has made my favorite dehydration thing, beef jerky, using just air conditioning filters and one of those big box fans, because technically you're not supposed to cook it to dehydrate it. I mean, you can, it aids the process, but he took 3 of those filters, because they're rigid, he lined all his beef jerky up in it and bungee corded it to a box fan and just blew it out the window for 3 days. And that removed all the water content. Now, obviously, use with caution, friends, and watch all the, I'm not a doctor or whatever, but again, if don't let not having a machine stop you from finding ways to remove the water content within food, and it makes it awesome. I think dehydrated peas are like better than popcorn for me. I can just snack on them and crunch on them all day.
Yo, put some wasabi on that too.
So good. So good. And because you're right, you can crunch on them as you're walking. I know a lot of times in gorp recipes, you'll have like dehydrated vegetables and whatnot, and they're delicious. But heck yeah. But what one of the questions we wanted to hear from y'all, and we've heard bits and pieces, what were some of the your best backcountry meals that you've had, and what are you maybe thinking about making for this week's challenge?
I think while everyone's thinking, I'm going to launch the other poll that we had set up. Do you prefer savory or sweet snacks during a hike?
This one's actually pretty hard for me. Because for a while I would always prefer sweet, but then come like the end of the day or like the start of the next day, I would be like, shoot, I want something savory. Because I would usually pack oatmeal for breakfast, PB&J for lunch, and then sometimes I would even, I don't know, I feel like my dinner would always lack something savory to it. And so then I started finally changing it up and realized like, oh, I can actually pack pretty good meals in the backcountry with me. Because before, when I first started trying to do backpacks, trying to do overnight trips, it was always peanut butter and jelly for lunch, like always. And then I started making different things with like pasta sauce and other cured meats like pepperoni and stuff like that. So
I think one of my favorite, I think lunches are a lot of times very difficult because a lot of the times you're not wanting to stop and really cook something at that point. So you're a little bit more limited, and then you kind of bust out your good stuff for breakfast and lunch. For breakfast and dinner. But one of the best lunches I've had on a backpacking trip one time involved Hawaiian rolls. Someone brought out some Hawaiian rolls, and then I think we just had summer sausage and a block of like cheddar cheese. And we got the little backpacking stove out and cut all of the Hawaiian rolls and put them on there so they grill and brown up, so they were like kind of crunchy. And we almost made like little grilled cheese sausage sandwiches. And oh my gosh.
That's something I would kind of do that with, kind of like Lunchable pizzas, I would do that with tortilla. I would pack some marinara sauce and like a 2 baggies. I would double bag them, and then I would get some cheese. And usually like day one, that would be my lunch. So I would bust that out and eat my little Lunchable makeshift pizza, and it was really good.
Dude, I hear that, and you reminded me.
Well, the results.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
The results, 100% savory.
Savory, team savory here.
Interesting.
Well, that makes sense. Everyone likes tuna with the new tuna technology.
That's true.
So.
That's true.
Yeah. You were mentioning though with cheese, Sean. I think a lot of times people don't realize some stuff you don't need to refrigerate constantly. And I know this gets into the whole USDA does not approve that dehydrator idea we heard a little earlier, and probably doesn't quite like this one that much either. But I've definitely taken, especially like blocks of cheese and stuff, you can hang on to for a decent bit without it being refrigerated. And so it sometimes gets a little greasy. Yep. And I'm sure you don't want to leave it in your backpack and in the heat and whatnot for a long time. But if you're talking like a 3-day trip, no problem. Like you can bring some creature comforts.
Yep. I would always bring cheese with me on my trips. Cheese can be heavy. It can sit in your stomach for a bit. So definitely like if you want to eat cheese for breakfast, I wouldn't suggest that. But other meals in the day, like I loved having cheese, especially for dinner when I was about to go to bed. Gave my body time to digest that fat, so.
Yeah.
When my brother did his through hike, there was one cat brought squeezable butter, and he had it, and he would, straight to.
Oh.
Again, those calories,
Yep.
From what I've always understood is a lot of stuff, if you don't refrigerate it initially, then you're okay. Like the tuna things, if these are refrigerated, they have to stay refrigerated. But if they're never refrigerated, they don't have to be. So the same goes for like butter and cheese and stuff. And a lot of times I've had success with finding like more like local cheese that isn't been like processed and shipped around. So just like a local place, and they can just sell you like a block of like cheddar. I think it's good for like a week. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I think it holds up especially if you're backpacking in, real climates, not Florida where it's 1,000 degrees. If it's like relatively cold out, like it's kind of refrigerated already. So
yeah.
If it's cold, bring whatever.
Yeah.
From big tuna to the big cheese there, JR.
Exactly. He's definitely getting a kickback. So Matt
sold out.
We're proud of you, JR. Oh. Cool. Yeah, I guess my last question that I'm always intrigued about is like what do people miss the most when they're on a camping trip and cooking a little bit different? It kind of becomes that day 3 and you're like, dang, I'm really craving cheese. I know a lot of time is mine. I'm just like, for whatever reason, cheese on top of whatever I'm making would be phenomenal right now.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Sean? What's something that you crave? And everyone else, feel free to write it in the comments or hop off mute right afterwards.
I always crave like some pasta meals, and I know those are makeable in the backcountry too. I like spaghetti and stuff. I know some things that are really tough to make in the backcountry, but something that I crave and I like getting after my trips is fried chicken.
Yes.
Fried chicken is great.
So good.
We got a fresh cold salad, the Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
True that. Because, any vegetables you're making is probably going to be cooked. So actually something that's cold and fresh, yep. Salad's totally on that one.
I was going to say like milk and like coffee, but there's ways to get around that. Like apparently, someone's calling me. It's a big tuna company. Like you can get like powdered milk. Actually, you can like throw it in with cereal, and like they make little powdered milk and espresso packets. You're trying to be bougie and have like a latte or something, but there's options. So
yeah,
for sure, powdered milk is awesome. I don't drink milk too much like normally, so actually here at my house I have just powdered milk that lives in my cupboard. So whenever I'm like really craving cereal, I'll use that because I don't drink it enough it goes bad before I can use it a second time. So yeah, definitely on that powdered milk.
We got Folgers coffee crystals from Hawk.
Folgers coffee crystals. I will say I think Starbucks Via is my favorite instant coffee. And the Folgers definitely do the trick, 100% on that. But I've definitely tried a few different ones, and I think the Via has been my favorite so far.
See, I am not. I love coffee. I love coffee in the morning, but I don't usually bring instant coffee. I'm always, for some reason, I switch to a tea guy when I go in the backcountry because tea bags are just so easy. But yeah.
We got another comment here, Cafe Bustelo instant espresso from Jordan. The chat seems to
everyone's agreeing with that one too. Yeah, that's the yellow box that you see in the store. Okay. I don't know if I realized that it came in an instant form.
You can get like 100 of them on Amazon in a box. Another thing too, I know we don't want to dive into the whole cat hole discussion, but actually having coffee in the morning is really helpful in the backcountry for being a little more regular with your systems, which can be a problem for a lot of people hiking and things. So just another perk.
Yep, for sure. And other
Go for it, Sean.
That's why I would bring beans a lot on my meals. That fiber helps.
That's why I don't share a tent with Sean when we're. Oh, but on that note, I think it's looking like we're about out of time. But
Yeah.
thank you all very much for coming in and chatting with us about this. We're really stoked for this this weekly challenge. To be honest, I'm excited for the recipes that people come up with. And you can cook it on a camp stove if you have one where you are right now. But if you don't, feel free to even just use your oven, but show us your backcountry recipe if you want to.
Sure. Cool. Well, thanks so much, you guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And our call off. I'm Sean.
And I'm Sean. And we'll see you guys next time.